Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to the Virtual House Church. I am Jake Grant, and this is my wife, Sierra, and my little girl. What's up? She says hi. Anyways, we are here facilitating the Virtual House Church, which is just kind of a way to gather online to study. We're going to be reading through some scriptures. I'm going to play an audio recording of the Torah portion, Chayei, this week. And if you haven't yet, you can jump over to the Virtual House Church website at vhc.fmawakening.com. And you can go down here to Genesis Studies and click Chayei. And that is all the resources that Rob built up over the years on the Virtual House Church website, as well as many broadcasts in the past of us going through this same Torah portion. And this week, let's go ahead and play some music. And we're just going to play a song. And then we're going to play the Parsha in 60 Seconds presents Chayei. And then we're going to play the word audio. And then when we come back, we'll make some comments on it. I'd like to read a portion from the book of Jasher and an interesting kind of text in the Targum version of this Torah portion, which is pretty interesting. And Sierra is going to share some of her thoughts about the Torah portion. And we're going to go from there. So before we get into it, let's go ahead and say a quick prayer. All right. Yah, bless this Virtual House Church gathering, and thank you for all the people all across the world studying your word out, seeking to understand the ancient paths, to walk like Yahushua. And I pray all this in Yahushua's name. Amen. All right. So let's go ahead and play a song, and then we'll come back.
To and fro as dark waves start to grow, the evening breezes turn, violent waters are now stirred. Ships find their way to the bottom of a deep blue grave, as those aboard believe that hope lies where they be. The chant of those that sing, the world does also sing. We're safe here in our ship, trust the boat and know what you bring. The lies are all around, and truth is hardly found. But burning this sailor's heart is the way of the set apart. Yeshua is my rock and salvation. I trust in his foundation. He's my anchor when I'm wrestling the storm. He's my anchor, I rely on in the war. He's my anchor, I shall not be afraid. No weapon formed against me shall prosper, for surely he is my anchor in the storm. As trials come like waves, the called out find the faith. Among the many lost, the faithful find the cause. Choose whom you will serve, Yahuwah or the wretched world. There's only one way to find hope that never dies. Yeshua is my rock and salvation. Trust in his foundation. He's my anchor when I'm wrestling in the storm. He's my anchor, I rely on in the war. He's my anchor, I should not be afraid. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. For surely he is my anchor in the storm.
Another great song from Lennon and Ruth of Left and Right Ministries, and thank you for your music. Now we're going to go ahead and play the Parsha in 60 seconds so you can catch up on Chayei Sarah, and then we're going to get into the actual audio recording of it.
Shalom and welcome to Parsha in 60 seconds. Today's portion is from Genesis 23:1, 25:18. It is called Chayei Sarah, which means life of Sarah. At 127 years, Sarah died in Hebron. Abraham instructed his senior servant to put his hand under Abraham's thigh and swear by God that he would not take a wife for Isaac from the Canaanites, but would go to the land of Abraham's birth to get Isaac a wife. The servant obeyed. He prayed that the maiden whom he asked to draw water for him, and who replied by offering also to water his camels, might be the one whom God had decreed for Isaac. As he finished, Rebekah came out with a jar on her shoulder. Boom! After an evening of celebrating, the servant was eager to go, but Rebekah's parents were hesitant. The servant insisted that they must return to Abraham. Rebekah had the final say and went with the servant. As they were approaching, Rebekah and Isaac saw each other, and it was love at first sight. They were married that evening. Abraham took another wife. Isaac received all the inheritance. Abraham lived 175 years and died. Isaac and Ishmael buried him with Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed Isaac. Ishmael had 12 sons who became chieftains of 12 tribes. Ishmael lived 137 years and then died. And that is Chayei Sarah in 60 seconds.
And now we're going to play the word audio recording of this Torah portion so you guys can listen along and discuss kind of the story unfolding.
Bereshit, Genesis chapter 23. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, the same is in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spoke unto the sons of Heth, saying,
I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight.
And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him,
Hear us, my lord. You are a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres bury your dead. None of us shall withhold from you his sepulchre, but that you may bury your dead.
And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying,
If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat for me to Ephron, the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me, for a possession of a burying place amongst you.
And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth. And Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even all that went in the gate of his city, saying,
Nay, my lord, hear me. The field I give you, and the cave that is therein I give it you. In the presence of the sons of my people give I it you. Bury your dead.
And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land. And he spoke unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying,
But if you will give it, I pray you, hear me. I will give you money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there.
And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him,
My lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and you? Bury therefore your dead.
And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron. And Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his woman in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 24. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had,
Put, I pray you, your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by Yahweh, the Elohai of heaven and the Elohai of the earth, that you shall not take a woman unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanim, among whom I dwell. But you shall go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a woman unto my son Yitzhak.
And the servant said unto him,
Perchance the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring your son again unto the land from whence you came?
And Abraham said unto him,
Beware that you bring not my son thither again. Yahuwah Elohai of heaven, which took me from my father's house, and from the land of my kindred, and which spoke unto me, and that swore unto me, saying, Unto your seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before you, and you shall take a woman unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow you, then you shall be clear from this my oath. Only bring not my son thither again.
And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning that matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed, for all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Aram Naharaim, unto the city of Nahor. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. And he said,
O Yahuwah Elohai of my master Abraham, I pray you, send me good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass, that the damsel to whom I shall say, Let down your pitcher, I pray you, that I may drink. And she shall say, Drink, and I will give your camels drink also. Let the same be she that you have appointed for your servant Yitzhak. And thereby shall I know that you have showed kindness unto my master.
And it came to pass, before he had done speaking, that behold, Ribkah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the woman of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said,
Let me, I pray you, drink a little water of your pitcher.
and she said,
Drink, my lord.
and she hastened and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said,
I will draw water for your camels also, until they have done drinking.
and she hastened and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again unto the well to draw water, and drew for all his camels. And the man, wondering at her, held his peace, to wit whether Yahweh had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of 1/2 shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold, and said,
Whose daughter are you? Tell me, I pray you. Is there room in your father's house for us to lodge in?
And she said unto him,
I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bore unto Nahor.
And she said moreover unto him,
We have both straw and provender enough, and room to lodge in.
And the man bowed down his head and worshipped Yahweh. And he said,
Blessed be Yahuwah Elohai of my master Avraham, who has not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I, being in the way, Yahuwah led me to the house of my master's brethren.
And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house of these things. And Ribkah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran unto the man, unto the well. And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and the bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Ribkah his sister, saying,
Thus spoke the man unto me.
that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said,
Come in, you blessed of Yahuwah. Wherefore stand you without? For I have prepared the house and room for the camels.
And the man came into the house, and he ungirded his camels, and gave straw and provender for the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat, but he said,
I will not eat until I have told my errand.
and he said,
Speak on.
and he said,
I am Avraham's servant, and Yahuwah has blessed my master greatly, and he has become great. And he has given him flocks and herds, and silver and gold, and menservants and maidservants, and camels and asses. And Sarah, my master's woman, bore a son to my master when she was old, and unto him has he given all that he has. And my master made me swear, saying, You shall not take a woman to my son of the daughters of the Canaanim, in whose land I dwell, but you shall go unto my father's house, and to my kindred, and take a woman unto my son. And I said unto my master, Perchance the woman will not follow me. And he said unto me, Yahuwah, before whom I walk, will send his angel with you, and prosper your way. And you shall take a woman for my son of my kindred, and of my father's house. Then shall you be clear from this my oath, when you come to my kindred, and if they give not you one, you shall be clear from my oath. And I came this day unto the well, and said, O Yahuwah Elohai, of my master Avraham, if now you do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water. And it shall come to pass, that when the virgin comes forth to draw water, and I say to her, Give me, I pray you, a little water of your pitcher to drink. And she say to me, Both drink you, and I will also draw for your camels. Let the same be the woman whom Yahuwah has appointed out for my master's son. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rivkah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder. And she went down unto the well, and drew water. And I said unto her, Let me drink, I pray you. And she made haste, and let down her pitcher from her shoulder, and said, Drink, and I will give your camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, Whose daughter are you? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore unto him. And I put the earring upon her face, and the bracelets upon her hands. And I bowed down my head and worshipped Yahuwah, and blessed Yahuwah Elohai of my master Avraham, which had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter unto his son. And now, if ye will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left.
Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said,
The thing proceeds from Yahuwah. We cannot speak unto you bad or good.
Behold, Rivka is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's woman, as Yahuwah has spoken.
And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped Yahweh, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Ribkah. And he gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things. And they did eat and drink, and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said,
Send me away unto my master.
And her brother and her mother said,
Let the damsel abide with us a few days, at the least 10.
After that she shall go.
And he said unto them,
Hinder me not, seeing Yahuwah has prospered my way. Send me away, that I may go to my master.
And they said,
We will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth.
And they called Ribkah and said unto her,
Will you go with this man?
And she said,
I will go.
And they sent away Ribkah their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they blessed Ribkah, and said unto her,
You are our sister. Be the mother of thousands of millions, and let your seed possess the gate of those which hate them.
And Ribkah arose, and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels, and followed the man. And the servant took Ribkah, and went his way. And Yitzhak came from the way of the well of Beer Lachairoi, for he dwelt in the country of the Negeb. And Yitzhak went out to meditate in the field in the evening, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Ribkah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Yitzhak, she lighted off the camel. For she had said unto the servant,
What man is this that walks in the field to meet us?
and the servant had said,
It is my master.
Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Yitzhak all the things that he had done. And Yitzhak brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Ribkah, and she became his woman, and he loved her. And Yitzhak was comforted after his mother's death. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 25. And again Abraham took a woman, and her name was Keturah. And she bore him Zimran, and Yokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Yishbak, and Shuach. And Yokshan begot Sheba, and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Chanok, and Abidah, and Eldaah. These were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Yitzhak. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Yitzhak his son, while he yet lived, eastward into the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 160 years. Then Abraham gave up his ruach, and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Yitzhak and Yishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar, the Hittite, which is before Mamre. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his woman. And it came to pass, after the death of Abraham, that Elohim blessed his son Yitzhak, and Yitzhak dwelt by the well Be'er Lachairoi. Now these are the generations of Yishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar, the Mitzrayim, Sarah's handmaid, bore unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Yishmael, by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn of Yishmael, Nebaioth, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Masaah, Hadar, and Tema, Yetur, Naphish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, by their towns and by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up his ruach and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Mitzrayim, as you go toward Ashura. And he died in the presence of all his brethren.
All right, awesome. So that was a lot of fun making. You can tell had some voice help over here, Sierra, doing some of those voices. Very grateful. So for this week, I'm going to let Sierra kick us off with some of her thoughts about the Torah portion, and then I'm going to read some of the extra biblical texts that go along with this, just for some extra insight and study.
Mine. All right. So I found it kind of interesting that Abraham would not allow the inhabitants of the land to just give him a piece of property. He insisted 3 different times that he wanted to pay for it, and he made sure to pay for it. So that to me was interesting. Also, let's see. Sit still. It says, when Abram told Eliezer to go to his country and to his kindred for a wife. He didn't want a wife from where he was currently located, but he sent him to his father's house. But also it was really interesting that he didn't want Isaac to go back to his father's house. Maybe because Yah had called him from there, he didn't want Isaac to go and perhaps get a favorable taste. A little preview is we're gonna read through the Jasher account, which actually says that Isaac was sent to Shem to learn the ways of the Most High after Sarah's death, and that at the same time is when Eliezer was sent to find his bride. So that's kind of sets up the story that we're about, that we just listened to. Yeah, very interesting. Let's see. A couple other things that stood out to me was just several stories throughout the Bible. It talks about there's a time when women go to draw water from the well. I'm really curious what that is. It probably has very little to do with this Torah portion, but I'm interested as we continue throughout the portions this year. I'm curious if some of the other portions allude to that. Because I know, like, in the New Testament, there are a couple of different areas that talk about it. So that was just a random thought.
Do you think it could be, like, tied to monthly bathing rituals?
I have no idea.
Like, the phrase, when they went to draw water, could it have represented that time period that they went to get enough water to, like, bathe once a month? Or do you think it's just the daily chore?
I don't know. I'm just curious why it specifically says...
Why that phrase?
Yeah. Like, why is it such a special time that women go and draw water? So, anyway, that was kind of a random thought. But I found it interesting once Eliezer went to... Now I can't even remember what the land was. The land of Abram's father. He went and he specifically prayed, if this is going to happen, let it happen this way so that I don't have to waste a bunch of time, but I know that this is the one that you've chosen for my master's son. I thought that was pretty amazing that he had the faith to pray that specific of a prayer. And then Yah was like, yeah, absolutely, here you go, and answered it just as specifically. I know that sometimes in just our everyday life, I'll pray just kind of more vague prayers. And I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with that. But I do know that it's definitely a faith builder when you pray really specific prayers and then Yah answers very specifically, like how you prayed. That's, to me, that's just really exciting when things like that happen, because it's like, hey, he is listening and he's totally able to do it. So if it lines up, that's exciting to me. But so Eliezer was there. He went and drew water, or not him. Rivka went and drew water, and then, the whole interaction just with him giving her the jewelry, her running back home, and then Laban coming. It says specifically Laban saw the jewelry, and then he was like, hey, come on over. Welcome into my home. You have very nice gifts. In not so many words. That was interesting to me. It was interesting to me that she had the faith to leave with a total stranger within what seems like a 48-hour period. And I don't think it was any longer than that. So just her being able to get up and leave everything behind to go with a total stranger.
I'm not calling her a gold digger.
No, I'm not necessarily, but was it faith? Was it the gifts? I don't know. I mean, that was pretty crazy to me.
It's like the modern version would be a guy pulling up in like a Lamborghini saying, we're going to, we're going to take out, we're going to take off. Anyways.
That was definitely interesting. And then also when she and Eliezer arrive at Sarah's tent, how it says she lighted off her camel, or she fell off her camel. I'm still a little confused as to what that means exactly. But that, and then also how she covered her face when she knew that Isaac was coming. I'm curious, why does she cover her face? Why was that a big deal to her or to them? Was it a custom? Was it like a bridal veil kind of thing? I have no clue. I thought it was interesting how after Sarah had passed, Abram took another wife and had several more children, but we hardly ever hear about those children. So it was like, this is the child of the promise. Ishmael was also a child of promise, but then he went on to have a lot of other kids, and that's what I found interesting, for sure.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, interesting thoughts. Like, there's sometimes things that I don't know if we'll ever know, but that's why I love looking into these other accounts, because they give a little extra information. And if they are credible, and I'm not saying everything's 100% on some of these old manuscripts, some of these things that we have from the 18th century, that was a Greek translation of an older text, but that's all we have left. You got to be wary, but you can also see 2 and 3 witnesses building up for certain elements of the story. And that's when you have kind of a preponderance of evidence that you can say this likely is how it went down. Because there's so many years crammed into just several verses. There's got to be more to the story, right? So one thing that I like to do, once again, there's a ton of great resources here that you guys can check out. But going to the Chayei Sarah page on torahportions.ffoz, you can read along, and we're going to talk about the part where Eliezer shows up at Laban's house. And so it was Laban and Bethuel, and there's a really interesting occurrence here in the Targum, which is the Pseudo-Jonathan Targum, which is kind of like the Torah portion with like a few added little extra elaborations, but all based on kind of Jewish oral tradition. Anyways, it says here, and the man entered the house, and Laban undid the gear of the camels, and gave the camels straw and provender and water to Eliezer to wash his feet, and the feet of the men who were with him. And he set in order before him to eat prepared food, in which was poison to kill. But he objected to it, Eliezer, and said, I will not eat until I have spoken my words. And he said, Speak. And he said, I am the servant of Abraham. So anyways, this is a really interesting kind of little elaboration on the drama of the situation. Is when he sat down with Eliezer, they did not trust him. They were ready to poison him, and had he eaten, they would have taken all of his stuff, and it wouldn't have ended up well. But he was protected because he was on a mission for the Most High. Now I want to read through this same story in Jasher chapter 24. When Abraham heard his brother was dead, he grieved sadly, and he mourned over his brother many days. And Abraham called Eliezer, his head servant, to give him orders concerning his house. And he came and stood before him. And Abraham said, Behold, I am too old. I do not know the day of my death, for I am advanced in years. Now therefore rise up, go forth, and do not take a wife for my son from his place and from this land, from the daughters of the Canaanites amongst whom we dwell. And this is passed down to Jacob and Esau, and this is one of the transgressions that Esau had against his father by not obeying this kind of commandment to not take of the daughters of the Canaanites. But go to my land and my birthplace, take from thence a wife for my son, and the Lord of God of heaven, earth, who took me from my father's house and brought me to this place, said unto me, To thy seed will I give this land for an inheritance forever. We will send his angel before thee and prosper thy way, that thou mayest obtain a wife for my son and for my family for my father's house. And the servant answered his master Abraham, saying, Behold, I go to thy birthplace and to thy father's house, and take a wife for thy son from there. But if the woman be not willing to follow me to this land, shall I take thy son back to the land of thy birthplace? And Abraham said unto him, Take heed that thou bring not my son hither again, for the Lord before whom I have walked, he will send his angel before thee and prosper thy way. Eliezer did as Abraham ordered him, and Eliezer swore unto Abraham his master upon this matter. And Eliezer rose up, took 10 camels of the camels of his master, 10 men from his master's servants with him. So this was a giant entourage that was showing up. And they rose up and went to Haran, the city of Abraham and Nahor, in order to fetch a wife for Isaac the son of Abraham. And whilst they were gone, Abraham sent to the house of Shem and Eber, and they brought from thence his son Isaac. So that's interesting. So Abraham sends Isaac to Shem and Eber, I guess to learn the righteous ways, like he learned from under Noah, right? All right. Very interesting. It sounds almost identical to the other text. I don't know. Very similar.
Definitely an arranged marriage.
Yes. Definitely an arranged marriage. I mean, we can talk about that for a second. It's important who your kids marry and who you're paired up with, because that's a joining of houses in a way. I know people kind of break away from their parents, as they should, but whenever you think about the cultures that raised those two individuals, when you mix those cultures, that then is the equation that will be poured into their children. So it's significant who you marry. And if he's warning not to marry among the Canaanites, there's a reason, because likely either they have some genetic corruption, as I know Rob's talked about in some of his research, or they have spiritual corruption of just kind of cultural norms that they've learned to practice, and that if that was mixed with the righteous children of Shem and Noah down through Abraham and Isaac, no wonder they were being warned to not, pollute their family traditions and their family line with the Canaanites. That we learn in some texts that the Canaanites were the sons of Ham that were not rightful heirs to the promised land, and that they had kind of taken it over against the allotment that was divvied out to the 3 sons of Noah. And because the sons of Ham took some of the inheritance lands of the sons of Shem, that's why they aren't kind of permitted to remain in the land, that they were to be removed and fought. The Israelites had to fight for an inheritance piece to be returned to them. So all things to consider. Any other final thoughts? You want Say Shabbat Shalom to everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, guys. We're just going to keep this one simple. You can find the New Testament writings, of course, over here. And I believe it's 1 Kings 1 through 31 for the half Torah, and John 4, 3 through 14. So I hope you guys have a blessed Shabbat. We're going to be traveling down to Texas, actually, this week to spend time with Sheila and Jeremiah. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of getting out from the cold weather up here in Missouri. Sierra says, however, that Texas might be a little cold. Is that true?
I'm sad.
She's sad. All right. Well, once again, don't forget to check out the Virtual House Church website. You can go over here and look at the Parsha workbooks that Rob put together. These calendars are out of date now, but we definitely have these workbooks, and this is a great way to support Sheila. So we love to keep mentioning, this is a great way to, keep pouring back into Rob and Sheila's ministry. As always, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. We're going to go ahead and end off here with the Aaronic blessing. And until next time, Shabbat Shalom.
יברכך יחוה וישמרך, יאר יחוה פניו לך וחונקה, יישא יחוה פניו לך לך שלום, יישא יחוה פניו לך ויעשה לך שלום, ויעשה לך שלום, ויעשה לך שלום.
Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Yahuwah te bendiga y te guarde. Yahuwah haga resplandecer su rostro en ti y tenga de ti compasión. Yahuwah alce su rostro sobre